What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV. This is the Poco F4 GT phone. The phone goes for basically like 500-600 euros. And so it's very inexpensive, but it's feature packed with amazing specs. So this screen right here, 6.67, 120 hertz, OLED display. The resolution is 1080p plus or 1080 by 2400. You get a 64 megapixel main camera on the back. This specific version has 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage, a 4700 milliamp battery. You can actually charge this via USB-C here. And when you charge it, it'll charge in as little, that's right, look at how fast this is, 17 minutes, 0 to 100, 17 minutes. It's wild how crazy fast the charging is on some of these Chinese branded phones. It's crazy. Side mounted fingerprint sensor. You get some extra buttons in here to help you control the phone if you want. Kind of interesting. We'll go through those in a minute. So that's the phone. Let's check out what comes inside the box. So inside the box, you get this mega humongous 120 watt charger, as well as a USB cable here to charge everything up. It's very thick. It's, feels really good quality. And then also within here, you get a SIM card ejector. You get your case, which is normal to see in here. This case is just a bendy little plastic case. So very nice to see all of that in here. And then you also get, which is cool, I'm not gonna open it, but you get a USB-C to 3.5 millimeter jack, so you can plug in regular headphones as well. Very rare to see those nowadays. It's just wild the value you get with these phones, like the Poco phones, how much specs they give you, all the stuff that comes inside the box, everything. It's truly amazing. So let's talk about the phone a little bit. So let's first talk about the fingerprint sensor on the side here. I don't know, I have to admit, it's not my favorite. This is my favorite spot now for fingerprint sensors, but for some reason it's just kind of slow, or I don't know. It just doesn't work really well. It works, don't get me wrong, but it's definitely not my favorite. It's probably my least favorite side-mounted fingerprint sensor, I'd have to say, on here. It seems kind of slow. It doesn't seem super accurate as most of the other ones are, so I'd give it a negative on there. What about the look of this phone? Very kind of gamerish looking. It's got the side edges on here, the interesting triangle type camera design around this rectangle. You get the little lightning right there. You get the Poco 5G. You got your speaker and USB-C charging there. You got these buttons over here as well that you can turn on and off if you want, so they become inactive, and when you press them they won't do anything, so it's kind of cool. And then you get a speaker at the top as well. One of the cool things about this phone is it actually has quad speakers, which is super rare. I don't know if I've ever reviewed a phone that had 4 speakers on it. Tablets, yes. The Samsung Galaxy Tabs, some of the higher end ones have 4 speakers. Never a phone. So without further ado, why don't we talk about the speakers?
So hand me the money, I divvy the pie. I'ma give all of my people a portion to build them a fortune on flipping the ride. I can't be mixy when iffy the vibe, and 40 on 50 is really the time. Why is you all on my phone like you want me, like you wasn't?
What is going on, guys? Welcome to Greggles TV Daily, your source for daily tech news. Make sure you subscribe so you know what's going on in the world of tech. How is everyone doing? I hope you're having a fantastic day. We have So speakers, they do sound good. Do they sound, and the bass sounds good too. It's actually kind of a nice low bass. But I don't know. I think if you didn't tell me this had 4 speakers, I don't know if I'd even believe it. They're good. Are they the best? From what I can remember, no, they don't sound the best. They don't sound overwhelmingly better than anything else. So I definitely a passing grade, but a little underwhelming for having 4 speakers. I want to go back to the design for a moment. 2 things I don't really love are, one are the volume buttons on the side over here. I'm used to them all being on one side. So for me, it took a little bit of getting used to. If you're used to that, it won't bother you, but I don't know. And they seem a little bit low too. I'm used to them being over here. So that was a little bit turning off for me. And then also these these buttons right here, they're kind of interesting because they're like basically customizable buttons. You can turn them on and they flick up and you can press them on and you can set them to do different things. Like if I press and hold it, it will allow me to do a screen recording and I set it like that. Or if I double press it, it turns on my flashlight you can see on the back, and you can do the same thing with the one on the side here, and you do that all in the settings. Let me just turn it on. There we go. And it makes a sound too as well. There we go. This one will open on my camera, and then pressing and holding does voice recording. And like I said, you can go into settings in here, go into special features, and then you go into pop-up triggers, and you can make these do certain things that you want, depending upon if you choose on the left or the right. So they're interesting, but I'll be honest with you, I would probably have them off more times than none because they're so easy. If you have them on, you'll grab your phone and you'll be like, you'll think it's the power button or you'll think it's some other button. And I press it once, nothing happens. But if you press and hold it for a second, it is going to do something. It's cool to have. But for me, I don't know. I don't think they're adding a lot of functionality for me personally. For you, it might be amazing, but I don't know. I find like they kind of get in the way. Also, holding this in your hand is pretty comfortable. The 6.67 inch screen is big, but it doesn't feel. I have kind of small hands. It doesn't feel super uncomfortable. So I'd give it a passing grade as well for the feel of it. It feels like good quality. I don't know. Overall, I think the phone looks pretty cool. One thing I want to mention before I jump into the display and the videos, the vibration motor on this is awesome. It feels really, really good quality. As good as, say, an iPhone. It's strong. It's very noticeable. If you like, vibrations coming through your phone for whatever reason, you're getting a call, you're getting a notification, you're just touching the phone somewhere and it vibrates. This feels wonderful. Really, really great vibration motor. Maybe one of the best that I've personally felt on an Android phone. I wanted to go through the display again. It's good. The quality of it's good. It'll play up to 4K videos on YouTube or whatever. When you pinch in, there it is pinched in, then I pinch it all the way in, and it fills the screen pretty nicely. For me, the screen's a little dim. Now, it's definitely, I feel like, not as dim as maybe a Pixel 6 phone or a Pixel 6 Pro, but it does get pretty dim. It's one of the weaker points about it. When you put it all the way up, it's definitely, you can see it, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, where you like to keep it maybe in the middle of the road, for me, it's a little dim, but not as dim as something like a Pixel 6 or 6 Pro. Now, battery life, this has a 4,700 milliamp battery, 120 watt charging. With that said, though, battery life day to day, you're basically going to get, it's not going to be the best, not going to be the worst, somewhere kind of in the middle. I don't think it'd be something that you wouldn't want to buy the phone for unless you really, really, really need amazing battery life. This wouldn't be the choice for amazing battery life, but it's definitely solid at best. Performance on here is good, don't get me wrong. Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 has 12 gigs of RAM. When I show you the Geekbench scores, they are definitely compete with the other Android phones in that same market, 1171 on the single core, 3609 on the multi-core score. And for me, I would tone down the animations a little bit. They seem just a little bit too much, so I would end up going in there and turning down the animation scales to 0.5 across the board. But otherwise, like I said, it's a pretty, look as it locks up on me. It's generally a pretty smooth phone for the most part. There is some slight bugginess to it, which I will add in there, but generally when I'm using this, I don't have any issues with using the phone and doing what I need to do on here. Performance has been great. Gaming is going to be fine. Going to websites, any of that kind of stuff is going to be great on here. Now, software, this is a Poco/Xiaomi phone, so you get your wallpaper store, you get your theme stores, so you can download themes and pretty much theme out your phone the way you see fit. So you can change the wallpapers and the icons and the backgrounds and all that kind of stuff, and even for the dedicated apps such as the phone and text messaging and stuff like that. So I love that it has all that stuff built in to the phone for you. You can download ringtones really easily. So very, very nice. And then you get tons of customizations, not only with these buttons like I showed you, but you also have your other special features such as a sidebar that you can flick out here, floating windows for easier viewing of certain windows. You got your second space to protect your view of your phone. You got your LED lights. You can turn those on and off if you want. Tons of customizations in here, additional settings as well. So if you really like to customize your phone, the Poco line of software is very, very customizable. Now, you're not going to get an IP rating in terms of dust and water resistance. You're not going to get wireless charging. For me, those are not deal breakers. They may be for you though. Now, the cameras here on the front, you're going to get a 20 megapixel camera that does up to 1080p video. And then on the back cameras, you get a main camera of 64 megapixels, 8 megapixel ultra wide, and then a 2 megapixel macro lens. Is dual LED flash. You can record up to 4K video. Without further ado, let's check out some photos and videos that I took. So one thing to know about this camera is that the front camera does 1080p only as the highest anyway. You can go lower than that if you want, but it only does 1080p. Now you see earphones in my ears, but it's because they're connected to my other phone that I have in my pocket. So the microphones you're hearing are directly from this phone. I'm going to stop walking so it doesn't look, just in case it's jittery, you can see what it's going to look like. I'll do a full 360 so you can see how it gets affected by light. I mean, when I look at the screen, it looks pretty clear. Be curious to see what it looks like otherwise. Here is the ultra-wide camera. Ultra-wide does 1080p. It does not do 4K on the back cameras, but the main back camera will do 4K, and we'll look at that in a moment. But this is what the, again, ultra-wide looks like. I'm going to stop just in case, again, it's kind of has no stabilization. We'll see how it's affected by light. You can see that car speeding down the road. What do you guys think? Let me know. One thing that's a little weird about this camera is when I had changed the setting for the main camera, which is on now, to 4K. And then I went, before I recorded with it, I went into the ultra wide, and that only does 1080. And when I went back into the main camera, it had switched back to 1080. So just be forewarned that if you do get this phone, that it's gonna, I don't know if it's a software bug or it's made like that, but if you switch to the other cameras in video mode, it's gonna downgrade the resolution. So you'll have to go back in there and upgrade it to the higher resolution that it can do. But this is 4K 30. And again, I'll do a little spin so that I'm not walking so much. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, what do I think about this phone? I think it's pretty freaking good for, you know, 500-600 euros or wherever you end up paying for, maybe a little bit more in American dollars. It's definitely a very solid phone. Good amount of storage, good amount of RAM. I love the super fast charging. The cameras to me are just okay. The battery life is, you know, okay. Performance is good. There is a slight amount of bugginess within the software. With some of the stuff, it probably just needs an update, to be honest with you, which I would guess it would. It's not the performance per se. The software overall is very customizable and easy to use. So overall, very, very nice phone, especially for the price that you pay. And I love everything that comes in the box. Truly amazing value that they put into there. Thanks for watching. If you want to pick this up, I'll link it down below, and we'll see you guys down the road. Peace.